Everyone. Welcome to Saturday Morning Tech. My name is Todd Cochran, and I've got two distinguished guests on the panel with me this morning. We've got Jeffrey Powers from Geekazine up on top. Good morning, Jeffrey. How are you?
Oh, tired. Got back into town at about 11 o'clock last night and had to run around this morning, get everything going because I'm heading out on the road once again.
Yeah, sounds like me. So on the bottom, we've got Rob Greenlee. Rob, good morning. How are you?
Doing terrific. It's a sunny day in Seattle again, man.
Oh, is it actually sunny, or are you being being
It's
sarcastic?
supposed to get no, it's supposed to get close to 70 degrees here today.
Oh, cool. Well, I've got you guys on. That's amazing. And I guess you don't get that many days to enjoy it while you can, yeah?
No, you don't. That's exactly right.
Well, I tell you, you are now officially the first guest on the brand new Ohanasaurus / Skyposaurus, and I did a major upgrade to hardware and everything. So Jeffrey says he's not seeing us clear, but Rob, are you seeing the return video clear?
Yeah, it's actually looking really good. I think I don't know, it must be a bandwidth issue, for Jeffrey.
Yeah,
Sure.
maybe. So what's going on is we pulled out the $150 Windows machines that I had in there for, I don't know, 2 or 3 years. And I realized a couple pieces of equipment, but essentially what I bought was 2 Mac Mini, the very basic editions. I bought 2 video distribution amplifiers that are essentially one HDMI in, multiple HDMIs out. And then I'm using 2 of the 4 ports on that. One's feeding the monitor, and then the other's going over to an HDMI to SDI converter. So I'm actually feeding the TriCaster this video signal via SDI, which really makes the quality a lot better and full. And obviously, Rob, with you're in here full 16:9 1080i. So, and then Jeffrey's in by 4:3. It doesn't matter. So, I mean, it can come in either way, but the quality of the video actually going into the system is a lot better. So,
it is. It's a huge difference, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then I upgraded the monitors. I bought 2 HP monitors that have pretty good spectrum range. I still got to get those dialed in. I didn't have time to do that last night. I was on my hands and knees at 7 p.m. last night wiring this thing all up. So, yeah, and it didn't come together as clean as I wanted it to. So, you kind of look back here and say, is it going to work? And it is. But just got back from Vegas myself. I got back from Vegas on Thursday. Of course, NAB had been going on. And interesting show. But we'll talk about NAB here. And, I actually only came home with 1 piece of swag. And I got it at a New Tech event. So I've been doing some sales stuff for Don Bain and his company, the Gadget Professor. So I went to their elite partner meeting or dinner, and it's supposed to hold stuff, but that was the extent of the swag for the entire show. Not some guy said I looked stressed out one day and gave me one of those squeeze balls. Of course, I didn't have anything with me but my camera, and that promptly went in the trash can. So, it's I told the guy I don't need nothing. I said he proceeded to have to hand it to me. He saw that media badge. It must be he thought I would give him some love or something on the just because he gave me a squeezy ball. But so Jeffrey, you were out at the Ford event with Mike Dell, or Mike was out there representing Geek News Central. So how was Ford and driving the Escape?
Oh, we had a fun time. I had a fun full week in San Francisco all together. On Monday, drove the Ford Escape. Yeah, me and Mike Dell, we paired up. I put up a video on Wednesday of my escapades with the Ford Escape, and I think Mike is also creating a video, so that should be
his is up already.
Yeah. Okay. And then Wednesday I went to demo IDG World's demo, which was a lot of fun. A lot of new startups and some old friends that we've interviewed at CES. Like for instance, I interviewed a company called Body Media, it's the company that has the armbands that track your health. And now they're coming out with something new. It's a little patch that you put on your arm, and it monitors for 7 days, which is pretty cool. And then on Thursday, I went to an HP event, what they call their HP Roadshow, which talked about their Gen 8 servers, the storage, getting things into the cloud, their new Odyssey system for anybody that's stuck in a Unix world or wants to transfer from Unix to Linux, and just a lot of fun. And then came back and got back into town late last night.
Well, it sounds like you had a fun week. Rob, did you have any, you're probably stuck at the office, weren't you, all week?
Oh yeah. Almost says that. Yeah, I would say that the biggest thing here over the last week or so is getting the new Lumia 900. So,
Oh, you got one.
yeah.
Can you get one for me too?
They lots of positive things being said about that.
Yeah, I mean it's really a great phone. I really enjoyed it. I mean, it's really solid feeling. I mean, it just feels like it's just made really well. I mean, it's just it's an amazing phone. It's got a little bit larger screen. I was actually really looking closely at the Titan 2 because it had a 4.7-inch screen, and I've got huge hands. So that my preference really in a smartphone, as I think about it, is I'd love to have a phone that's over 5 inches. So it would just be, not too big. I think 6 inches is probably too big, but somewhere between 5 and 6 inches would be my perfect size for a smartphone. So, but the Lumia is it's a great phone, and I definitely enjoy having it, and it's going to be interesting to follow its saga out there.
Yeah, and they're talking, and
yeah,
it's getting a lot of press. And of course, I'm digging through my stack, and it's probably all the way at the bottom. What I want to show you guys. And I showed this off last night, some of the stuff off last night at the show. Yeah, here it is. Of course, a trek to NAB would be nothing without getting the 2012 NAB Special B&H magazine, which is full of stuff that obviously I'm not going to be able to afford after I tell you about all this stuff I saw at the show. But just to kind of give you a highlight, the thing that probably impressed me the most and I'm most excited about that I pre-ordered was this. It's the live stream broadcaster.
Oh, yeah.
And $495. And here's the skinny on this thing. And I had a long talk with the live stream CEO. Matter of fact, he talked to me for about 40 minutes. He's building this box, I believe, subsidized. And he's going to be giving it out just like he would, a cell phone. But the only difference is, if you want to use this with live stream, you only have to pay $45 a month. Now, my biggest challenge with this is, and this is a great device, you just hook it to your camera, and you can run HDMI right into this thing. You put in your 3G or LTE USB stick. It recognizes it, and you can go live right from the device, or you can carry on a MiFi and connect to your MiFi via Wi-Fi. It runs on some AAA or AA batteries, and it'll push out H.264 and full 720p for the HD portion of it. But here's the kicker. For the $45 a month to run this, you can send people to livestream.com, your site, but you cannot take the embed off the Livestream site and put it on your own site. So I was complaining to him. I'm like, listen, it's worthless. I want to have the embed on Geek News Central. I want to be able to build my brand. He says, well, I'm subsidizing and I want to build Livestream. And I said, I don't care about Livestream. I care about doing live. I says, if you're going to sell something like this, you got to make it so that this is attractive to other people. We can do redirects and all kinds of things to get people to the site. Maybe that's what we're going to end up having to do. But I said, come on, give me a third option. Give me let me pay a little more money and be able to take the embed and put it on my website. We talked about putting the live stream logo as a overlay on there, and he said that didn't work. But he essentially wanted to get people to livestream.com. Now, for $45 a month, you get ad-free streaming with this. And that's big. Now, every company I talk to that has a bag says this thing's not going to work. They say
no, it's not.
Well, sit there right in the live stream booth and watched it work. They had Sprint cards plugged into it. They had Verizon cards plugged into it. They had AT&T cards plugged into it. And
how many cards can you put in there?
One.
At a time?
One. And they were holding strong at NAB. Now, NAB is not as heavy of a traffic area as CES is.
CES, yeah.
Now, I don't think I would trust this for CES, but I might trust this for local stuff. If you're going to a local event, going to, not where there's going to be 25,000 or 150,000 geeks, but I could see this. I've streamed with one card before, many times in different locations. So if the event that you're at has Wi-Fi, you can connect via Wi-Fi, and need between 400 and 800 kilobits up, which is doable on a single card. So we'll see where this goes. I'm going to get one, and we will find out whether or not it does what it says it does. But now here's the funny part. Let me show you. They were co-located with Teradek, and Teradek has the cube and the bonded piece that goes onto it. Now here's Teradek's thing. It's a bonded solution where you can put up to 5 cards, run SDI or order it with HDMI in, whichever you want. And that with this configuration, you also need their ground station or a ground device, and you're going to love this, Jeffrey. You can take this in combination with their little decoder device. That decoder device has an SDI out and will feed essentially any device. So we could have this on the floor at CES running, have the decode box in the booth, and we could actually go live to the floor from the booth.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So this solution, though, on the other hand, is not cheap. It's $7,000, maybe $7,500 for everything that you would need to go with. That's basically one rig. Now, the difference here is if you don't need the bonded solution, you can buy this separately. That's $1,500. This is $1,500. And then the decoder box is where the challenge comes in. Of course, then your service as well. But here's the tricky part. I want you to look at this menu. See that? Well, you guys probably can't see it real well, but the menu on the Teradek, if you look at that, and then you look at the menu on the live stream box, they look pretty much the same. And
Similar,
yeah, so I asked the guys, did you partner up with Teradek? They said, we're not saying. But you look at it, same form factor, just a little different input. Pretty doggone close. So it's pretty exciting stuff. Now, they've also come out with a kit. They got a complete broadcast kit, everything you would need to go live, including encoder, decoder, using a Mac Mini, using a Blackmagic design box. I was snooping heavy, man. They had stuff set up, and I was taking pictures where I wasn't supposed to be taking pictures. But what they did at live stream, Jeffrey, remember I talked about that Blackmagic design ATEM television switcher, the 4-channel switcher that Blackmagic Design came out with for $1,000?
I think so, yeah.
Well, what you can do with live stream now is you can actually take the set their interface up. You can use the ATEM live switcher, and you can switch 4 cameras right from the live stream control panel and tie that back to what they've done here, you essentially have pretty close to got a TriCaster without some of the bells and whistles, for, well, four cameras plus the $1,000 ATEM Blackmagic television switcher. It now has been updated so you can record H.264 off it. Streams, you need a second little monitor set, so probably need a monitor about that big to switch it. You could really almost do everything you can with a TriCaster with like 2 Pelican cases and have a professional switch. And so they have done, there's some cool solutions here, and tie that with some recording devices. If you don't want to record on the system, you just want to take an external out. They've got a company called Atomos, ATOMOS. They've come up with these. They're about $1,000. They're basically a self-contained HDMI or SDI recorder. Slick as hell, and they're tiny, and they work off batteries. So just all these solutions I was seeing at the show that was just clean, small, nice, meant to be portable. And then I went and talked to LiveView. LiveView model 2 years ago was buy the bag or rent it from us for $2,500 a month. And so I was talking with the guy, and I'm like, listen, why do I need to rent from you guys? I'll just buy, something from TerraDeck or, and he's like, well, he says, we've changed our pricing. So the LiveView stuff is all came down in price. And I heard that you could get plans now for as cheap as $750 a month with a 1-year contract. So still not as, overall, if you can keep the TerraDeck for 2 to 3 years, and not have it become outdated, still cheaper than the LiveView situation. Now, LiveView included the, in their pricing, that was including the cards. So, you think their 4 and 8 card solution, you've got $300 wrapped up in card solution. Now, they will only pay for 30 hours of live stream a month. So here was my question. All right, last year I paid $6,000+ for a connection at the booth with the convention center. Can I rent a bag and do 50 hours? And he kind of looked at me, says, well, probably if you go to 50, we wouldn't say too much. So which I thought was interesting. So really you could rent a bag and not pay these knuckleheads at $6,000. You could rent a bag for, let's say it's even $2,000, and you've saved yourself a huge amount of money. Plus, at the end of the day, you grab the bag and you go to other events, and you do the events live with the bag in tow. So lots of options for if we decide we're going to go back to CES 2013 and do live again.
So from what I'm seeing, there's a renaissance going on around live content. Is that the big kind of takeaway that you're feeling from the NAB?
I specifically went looking for live, and it's all about the keyword. What was what they were using? There was a saying everyone was using. My daughter's been playing with my iPhone here. I think it was live broad. What was I sent an email to my guys at Raw Voice. There was a word that they were. Here's what it is: web broadcast. That's what they were. Everything was web broadcast. And so what I saw was lots of solutions for ingest once, push to many. In other words, push to many screens, a lot of different encoding formats. I mean, everyone had one of those plans. There was lots of course, the pro stuff was all pro, but everything had a $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 price tag behind it. There was very few cheap solutions, and I went looking for one really my goal was to find a software package that I could run and use for live that would basically allow us to run, like live stuff from Tech Podcast without having to have so much hands-on management. And their company that was out there that I found that did that was a company called Stryme, Stryme, and they've got what's called the Genesis video server. Now, what this does is scheduling. You can schedule it so you can do daily and weekly planning. You can feed it with a third-party XML file. It does SD and HD. You can have multi-channel. It's used for broadcast, but it's really set up for web. But what it does is it's got two inputs to it. So what you would do is you would feed it, one input, excuse me, let me say that again. One input, one output. And the one input is designed so that if Jeffrey is somewhere and he wants to go live, he can go live and he knows what port to come into with his streaming service, and the system would interrupt replay and go live. And then when Jeffrey got done, it would switch back to regular scheduled stuff. But you can set it up so that it essentially is on a schedule, and it knows at 2:00 Jeffrey's going to come in live, and it'll hold the channel live for him for an hour. And then when his hour's up, it switches back to replay. So you could have this thing running and setting, or you could just do playlist only, where just you set up the playlist and it plays the videos as you want, and it definitely pushes out the schedules, overlays. You can schedule advertisements, all that stuff. And it can be really set up to be like this automated playback for a television station. But it's really with some minor tweaking, and I talked to the guy quite a while about it. Matter of fact, this company was the company I went to Vegas to talk to. They are going to be putting some work in software-wise that I think will make this even a better solution. Now, this is not a cheap investment. I would have to probably lay out $5,000 to $7,000 to buy this solution. But if it will run up to 8 live channels, money well spent, I think. $1,000 a channel, not bad. But one of the things that I was talking about was to these folks too, was that everyone's on different schedules. So I found another solution out of Lansing, Michigan, of all places, that is the best solution, but would not necessarily be the cheapest solution. And I don't know best way to show this. It's a company called Lightronix. And I guess if I had this, here I'm showing a brochure. So, what you guys can see over here, we got cameras. And what it does is each person that would be part of a live group would buy this, what's called peg casting, and it's $1,000. It's a 1U rack mounted box that you feed your live programming into. And then it auto forwards to a box that is centralized. And that box basically ingest and records the content. So you could have 2 or 3 people live, and then the main system would basically record everything to it. Has features where you can cut the clips that have come in and set them up. And then same type of deal with this other solution is to line it up and be able to do a broadcast thing. So what it does is it basically uses a proprietary format, and he showed me the encoding because I said, okay, this looks like smoke and mirrors, but he had an HD camera sitting there with a box. I was seeing a data throughput, pushing it across the network into this centralized box. That box was store and record, at the same time. And then at the same time, it was being managed. And then there was this broadcast stream that was going out. This is the complete solution. So I'm thinking, potentially what could be done here is if you were going to be real serious about this, you would buy one of these for every producer or have the producer buy it. He sets it in his studio. You don't care when he records his show, long as he's pumping to the box, and the box will just push forward to the cloud. And basically, this is not in the cloud. This would sit somewhere locally, maybe even in the cloud in a rack somewhere, and it would store the video, and then you would be ready to rock and roll with the production stuff. So what it's really designed for is, and the way he was describing it, is a lot of schools use it, a lot of churches use it, where they have remote locations and they push stuff in and it all stores, and then they can use it as part of their programming. So that was one solution. And this one here is it's not the prettiest, but it's again another way of getting everything. So, they lots of ingest tools that I saw as well. Nothing with a cheap price tag. So I don't know if any of that made sense, but it it's obviously. Go ahead.
Yeah, it just points to the a phenomenon around live. I mean, for me, as you think about how these tools are making it easier and easier for you and I to possibly make live programs, it just kind of, and if these things are being talked about at the National Association of Broadcasters conference in as big a way as I'm perceiving it to be, it's almost like that the online broadcaster was basically the dominant topic at this show, right? It's the technology and really, from what I've kind of the impression I've gotten, and Todd, let me know if this is a correct observation, but it's almost like the National Association of Broadcasters event is becoming what the Podcast Expo should have been.
Yeah, to a certain extent. They've got, the right vendors were there. The folks I wanted to talk to, it was well worth, just talking to these guys and telling them, here's my problem. This is what I want to fix. And they're going, oh, and a lot of them are still in the broadcaster mindset.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, listen, you got to, we're not talking about plants. We're not talking about having satellite dishes. We're not talking, all this stuff. I'm talking about web broadcasters doing stuff from their homes and pushing stuff. I says, we got to have a better workflow that makes this work. And they all got it. I mean, they're like, all of them are like, wow, wow, wow. And, I'm telling them how many people are creating live and, recorded content, but, it's going into the syndicated thing and blah, blah, blah. And they have a hard time wrapping their brain around the distribution that we're able to do these days. And some of them get it that are in that space. They get it. They really do. But I think really, the star of the show, believe it or not, is New Tech. New Tech. Oh my goodness. I mean, they have come out with a new box called the TriCaster 8000 that is simply incredible. I mean, it is a flat out one of the most amazing pieces of hardware I've seen in a long time. Now, sadly, I probably will not be able to afford the upgrade unless someone buys me one, or I get some sort of a special deal, which probably is not going to happen. But I'm not a Leo or anybody like that. But when you get a chance to see what this box will do, the possibilities are limitless. We could be right now in a 3-box. If I had an 8000, we could be 3-boxed going live, where each of us were basically, had our own little separate video box. Now that's not so big deal, but the demo they did was they had 3 people sitting next to each other on a green screen, no farther than maybe 2 feet apart. And when they put it in the virtual set, it looked like they were in a studio that was 50 feet across. And the things that they were able to do when the videos come out, you'll just have to sit through and watch the videos. It's an incredible, what they have done is absolutely incredible, and all the different features that they've added to this. But $39,000. So it's not, not something that the average content creator like you and I are going to be able to run out and buy. They want $7,000 to upgrade, for me to go from the 850, which is I have now, to the 855. Now, all things considering, it's probably a relatively inexpensive upgrade because I get a brand new machine, get the latest technology, I get a bunch of stuff I don't have now, and I'll be current. But this 8,000, I'm probably going to have to wait 2 years until the price comes down in order to even consider buying it, because next year it'll be discounted, the prices will change and all that. But what they were demoing, they had standing room only in their booth every single day. And but on the other hand, talking with Blackmagic Design, talking with the folks at Wirecast, because I spent time in their booth, and the Wirecast folks need to get their game on. They're falling behind. They, Livestream just kicked their butt with all this integration with Blackmagic. And I'm saying, listen, you're missing the opportunity here to have a relative inexpensive production system that will work with some gear that is pro gear, but not it's still expensive, but it's not, $10,000. It's, a couple of HDMI cameras. It's, and then a single laptop, not more than one, portable, all this stuff. And I said, come on, guys, you got to get moving here. Your product's maturing from a codec and from overlays and all this other options. But, look what Livestream just did. And how come you guys aren't building the interface? I don't know if they just don't have enough coders or what's going on at Wirecast. But all I can hope for is that they get their game on and start integrating some of this gear. And I think what they've also understood too, and he says, well, I can build an entire system for $10,000 that will do what the TriCaster does. I said, yeah, but I need 3 different pieces and a lot of hands-on. I says, this has got to be simple for the guys to touch an F1 key or an F2 key and make a switch of a camera and not have, to do a pull down and do all these 2 or 3 things. And I think he kindly got it. But,
it's probably a matter of who your market that you're going after is. Is it the pro? I mean, the big networks and the big pro broadcasters that are going to have their guy that runs the board versus a person, like a broadcaster like us that's got a board in front of them. They're doing the broadcast plus they're managing their feed. So
well, the Wirecast,
it's just a different target,
but the Wirecast folks are guys like you and me and Jeffrey.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
well, there's a lot of and I use Wirecast myself. That's how I do Geek Smack. But and there are problems with the software, and they're blatant problems with the software. The things that you figure, okay, it errors or it has a problem, it should be fixed like next week, and reality, it hasn't been. It's been like 3-4 months since they came out with a latest revision, and it's still a problem. Like, for instance, this last revision, for some reason, the USB webcams, all my webcams, all of a sudden have now a slightly pixelated look to them whenever I do a recording, and I haven't figured out why. I mean, they were nice and crystal clear in the previous version, but now they've got this slight pixelation to it, and like I said, I'm trying to figure out why it is, why they have it like that. They have done some good forward momentum moves. Like, for instance, 6 months ago, one of our tech podcast members, Stephen Haywood, went full time onto their help desk to try and help resolve some of these problems. But they're definitely behind the ball, and they need to really catch up at this point.
So I think, what I've decided is, based on what I saw at the show, my travel kit, which used to be a Pelican case, is probably going to be changing. I think I'm always pulling stuff out of the Pelican case. I'm always having to do a bunch of crap to get it ready, but they've got these roll around 19-inch racks now that will fly. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to build my system up so I can set the damn thing on a box or on a chair and turn it on, plug it in, turn it on, and plug my headset in and run the camera cables. I think that's what I'm going to do for my portable system. And who knows, based on what I saw at the show, that might work for CES. Instead of shipping in 20 boxes, I ship in that plus a couple of cameras and some stands, and we're done. We're ready to roll. And so I'm doing the kind of the planning on exactly how much space I'm going to need, and I'm sure that's going to take a little time to put together. But once I do it, it's going to be really slick. I just imagine it's going to. I can envision it in my head. So we'll see where this goes, but definitely a lot happening at NAB, and was fairly impressed. So Jeffrey, you said you were out at demo. What did you see at demo? Anything that really excited you?
Well, before we get off the NAB thing, the one product that I was really impressed with was the Blackmagic Cinema camera. I don't know if you saw that or not.
I did. And we actually did a write-up on Geek News Central about it. It's a 2.5K, and this is kind of weird. There was a bunch of 2.5K stuff at the show, which made me go, but there was quite a bit. I think it was $3,000 was that camera. But you use
it's basically a small. It looks very, very small, very compact. It's the first camera that has a Thunderbolt port built into it, so you can go directly to a Thunderbolt on your Mac onto your production machines, and use it like a webcam, like a USB webcam. And it's got adjustable or changeable lenses. It's got an SSD slot, or a slot so you can put an SSD drive into it and use it like a regular camera. So we could actually, since it's lightweight, you could actually take it around with you. We could actually do interviews from this and get some pretty darn nice looking video interviews. Of course, this is meant more for production, more for making short movies and stuff like that. But $3,000, that price, and that's not with all those lens adapters that you might be seeing on there. It's just the basic case, and of course you got to buy lens adapters and shields and all that other stuff. But this could be a very versatile camera for anybody's use, whether you're people like us going to film small conventions and get interviews, or you're actually making a TV show or a movie.
Now, one thing that you can use on this is you can use Canon lenses, the red, the ones with the red stripes. You can use Carl Zeiss. I think I pronounced that correctly. Lenses. So there's a variety of different lenses you can use with this. You just got to get a little adapter kit, and then you can mount almost any lens to this. So, it's pretty remarkable what they've done here with this. And the price, base body, $3,000 plus, if you start out with one lens, $1,000, $2,000, you've got yourself a 2.5K camera here. And with the built-in SSD recorder, it's all digital. So,
and there's also what's that other port? The standard plug, so you can actually take other items into the camera from other cameras.
Oh, really? So you can actually feed it other camera inputs. That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so Blackmagic Design has done some cool stuff. I think that was probably their product that they were really talking about. But I I spent a lot of time in their booth too, and browbeating the guys that were, had announced something the year before and didn't deliver, and then didn't announce that they'd put a patch in and fix some stuff. I was shocked. I walked in there and he said, "Hey, H.264 recording out of the ATEM television producer." I said, "No, it doesn't." And the guy says, "Oh, yes, it does." I said, bull crap. I said, "I've got one. It doesn't do it." He says, "When did you update it last?" And I said, "Well, I bought it and it didn't do what it said it would do, and I haven't used it since." He says, "Well, you need to update it. We fixed the firmware." And I'm like, psh, so much for. Did you send an email to everyone that had bought one telling us? No. I said, "Well, that'd be maybe a good communication strategy to use in the future."
Yeah, I think that
I'm actually going to be purchasing in the next 48 hours the Black Magic Intensity Extreme.
The Black
And
Magic.
I'm going to be doing some video. I'm lucky. I've got full compass that's like 3 miles down from me. So on Monday morning, I'm going to go down there, pick it up, and get started on that. So I'll actually be able to do high definition recording into my computer through the Thunderbolt port.
Oh, so you're buying? Great. I know what you're talking. You're buying you getting one with the what do you call it? I think this is it. Intensity Shuttle, is that what you're buying?
Nope, it's the Extreme, the solid case one on the bottom.
Oh, this one right here. Now they've got a Thunderbolt port on this one, I believe.
Yep.
So that's a pretty nice little box.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a nice box. I think $399. I think
$284.
$284
from full compass. Yeah.
Yeah, not bad. $284. That's actually a pretty good price. Yeah, I saw a lot of Thunderbolt port. What is that? That's what it's called, right? Thunderbolt.
Yep.
Yeah, Thunderbolt port stuff at the show. Rob, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I was just really amazed by the form factor of that Black Magic camera. It's like, is that going to be, is that a trend that we're going to see more of? Is a complete change in the form factor of cameras?
Well, when I was at the Sony event, of course they were sharing all their big stuff, and they're talking about their Mega F65 camera and how all these guys were raving about the vivid video quality of the F65. But I don't even think they list the price of the F65 on their website, but so that tells you how expensive it is. So, they're all talking about how, all these guys are saying, "Oh, we're, finally we can leave film and have a true digital, workflow, blah, blah, blah." And everything was about digital workflow. They don't want to say that cameras like this are the future, because they are, they have $1 million cameras that they're selling and accessories that are just giving them a small grade higher in quality. If you're looking something that, and quite honestly, I saw some F65 coverage that I said to myself, it is more vivid than life. I've been places where I've seen scenes like this, and it didn't look this brilliant. They make the pictures look more real than life. And, it's a dazzling experience, but to me, it's altering reality at this point. And I don't know how they're just making the green screeners, the red's redder, the yellow's yellower, and is that what I really see when I'm out in nature? I don't think so. I don't see some of these colors like this. But it's what they, it's what maybe the cameras are being more perceptive than the human eye. I don't get it, but, or they're boosting the color levels or something. It's an interesting, we're in an interesting spot, but I saw everyone running around with little Canon cameras doing video interviews. So, all right. Anything? Okay, so let's go back to demo. What did you see at demo, Jeffrey?
Basically, for anybody that doesn't know, demo is a conference. There's two. You have demo, and then you have TechCrunch Disrupt. Demo is done by IDG World, and basically what it is a bunch of venture capitalist angel investors coming in, and a bunch of people present their products that they've they've been developing, or they've just started. They just get a whole bunch of creative people in there. They get a certain amount of time to do a pitch, and then when their pitch is done, they demonstrate to people and hope that that a VC will come by and say, okay, I'm interested. Let me join in on this. They get out. There's a lot of opportunities for newer companies. I saw this one company that the week before won an award in the robotics category for best startup. That I'd have on my website talking about it. When basically what they do is they created a device that will actually help people with vision and impairments try and get through a normal day life. It works as in they kind of point a camera at, let's say, a shirt or something like that, and they say, "Can you tell me if this shirt is blue or red?" So I know that at least color matching my pants and socks and stuff like
Ah,
that, and
cool.
then the person at the other end can go, "Yeah, that's a red shirt," and it's like, okay, so uh, companies as little as just started a week ago to companies that have put together a well-developed business plan and are ready to pitch to a VC, and then and you get to meet a lot of people. You meet people that are looking to invest, and you're looking for people that are willing to create, and that's the amazing part about demo.
Well, one of the companies that came out of TechCrunch Disrupt was last year was called We Video,
Yep.
and they just got 19.1 million in funding. Now it's funny because I talked to the We Video guys on Tuesday or Wednesday. He told me about the funding, and I didn't know that it wasn't public knowledge yet and didn't get announced until yesterday. So I could have had a scoop 2 days in advance. But the you know I kind of went in there with a bad attitude. I went in and I told the guy, I said, I don't believe in this cloud video editing. And I said, I think it's all, it's all all bullshit. Is basically kind of how I said it to him. And because I'm thinking long form. I'm thinking uploading. You have to upload this long video, and you send it over there, and you got to do all this edits online, and it just takes longer to upload stuff than it does to really I could have the whole process done on my machine. And he says, I want you to think about it this way. He says, take your camera and shoot 2 or 3 minutes worth of video, and whether it be a paparazzi video, whether it be something you see here at the show, and you're walking the show, you don't have time to mess around. He says, go ahead and shoot it with your camera, then set your camera to upload it in the background, and it uploads. And then he says, you can have someone sitting in LA, Philippines, New York, wherever, edit that video once it's up and then publish. He says, that's the thing here. It says all designed for small, short form videos. You can use it for long form, but he says, people are shooting 3, 4, 5 minutes of video on a camera, and it never gets off the camera. It stays on there. He says, so send it to us, do the online editing, then send it to YouTube, Vimeo, or share it, or download the finished product. And he says, we'll take almost any format that we can ingest. If you got someone shooting with something with a BlackBerry or someone shooting with an Android, it all works the same. It all sends up. So basically, he says you can even, if you get it up there, you can edit it with your iPad. And so he kind of changed my thought process on short form video. And the prices are really good.
Well, I'll tell you something. I one thing that I did get this last week from Canon. You were just talking about Canon, and I actually just got the Canon R30 from Canon to review. I took it to San Francisco. The cool thing about that is it has wireless capability, which means that when I'm done recording, I can send it to an FTP. I can send it to YouTube and all the others, but I can also send it to an FTP
Canon R30
location and have that video ready for somebody to either edit or turn around and put up on YouTube. And that would be cool because I could go out with a 2-person crew. We could record a video, and then it could instantly, as long as there's Wi-Fi access, it can then send that to a box, a computer or something like that, and then somebody back at home base can turn around, edit that video, and then put it up on YouTube. That way, I don't have to do it at like 12 o'clock at night.
Yeah, so, but the question though that I have for even on this is shooting in HD. So how big are those files that you're doing a 3 to 5 minute video, but how big are they?
They're around for about 5 minutes. We're talking something around 100 to 150 megabytes. The best part about the new Vixia series is they've incorporated MP4, and I think the only way to upload to use the wireless is to actually set it in MP4 mode. And you can choose, you can either choose, I think it was like 4 megabyte MP4, or you can choose 9 megabyte MP4. So if you want higher quality, you can get that. Or if you're just getting something that you're going to end up putting on YouTube anyway, then you can dumb it down to 4 megabytes and have a faster upload.
And $449 on the price on that, does that have an HDMI out?
Yes, it does.
Well, that might be another travel camera.
What's that?
It might be my next travel camera.
Not that one, and I'll tell you why. The R30, I have the R20, which is really nice. The R30 comes with a little bit wider lens, opening lens, but they don't have it threaded. So I can't actually put anything on there. I can't put a hood on there or a filter or anything like that, like I do the R20. Now I know the other models. This is like the lower end model of 6 models that came out with new Wi-Fi. The HRF 52, I believe it is, was the one I was supposed to be getting, but they ran out of test models. That one, you'll be able to actually put adapters on, so we can go out to outdoor environments and not get sun glare or anything like that.
Yeah, check that number for me, Jeffrey, and then email it to me after the show.
For the higher end model?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So Rob, what do you think about this whole in the cloud web editing or video editing?
I think that it could very well be the future of how all this stuff is done. I was just thinking about, as you guys were talking about, that I think as the bandwidth that we get gets better and computing power gets stronger, I don't see any reason why we wouldn't be able to do like what we're doing here through a browser, or an app or something like that. That basically you plug in a bunch of cameras, into like a hub of some sort here, and it basically funnels all those live signals up to a website. You can basically manage a show like this on a website, and then that video is stored on the website, and then you can edit it on the website. And, you don't have to store anything locally unless you want to. But it just feels like that where all this stuff is going to is ease of recording and production, and it's all ultimately gonna wind up, I mean, for more normal people, right? It's gonna live up in the cloud, right?
Yep.
That power and that storage and that the ability to distribute is going to just be a tool that we just load up on our computers. It isn't something like we're going to have to do like we do today, where we have to have really elaborate mixers and all this kind of these kind of encoding tools that are local on our machines. All that stuff can just exist as software in the cloud, I think, in the long run.
Well, I had to adjust the. It's that time of year. I'm getting whacked right in the face.
Yeah, you are.
So I looked at the Wowza server. They're going to be upgrading and making some changes to the GUI, so it's going to come later in the year and easier to manage. So that was one of my complaints to them, is you have to be a rocket scientist to run the doggone thing. And she kind of looked at me, and I'm like, average people need to be able to run this, not just Linux administrators. So they're going to be doing some GUI stuff, which will help with the management of it. Lots of discussion this week about vehicles and tracking on vehicles. Congress passed their portion, Senate passed their portion of a Senate bill that is requiring upgrades to the black boxes in our vehicles. So here we're going to now have the, not only are airplanes going to have black boxes, but cars are going to have it. And you can be guaranteed after every accident, they're going to plug into it, download it, and see exactly what you were doing, leaving little to be thought of. I guess it could work two ways. It could work to your advantage. It could work to your disadvantage, don't you think?
Yeah. No, I think very soon the days of lying about your actions in court or otherwise are going away fast because they're going to be recording everything that you do. I mean, from your cell phone to your car. I mean, everything, every data point in our lives, it seems like is going to wind up being tracked. So I'm not sure what that means for people that kind of like to live on the edge and push the envelope,
Well,
especially teens, right?
yeah. Well, there'll be no more living on the edge. It'll all be out there in black and white and in a court of law, I'm sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be hard to hide with cameras everywhere. I mean, it's really, unfortunately, it's kind of that 1984, the surveillance society. I think is really starting to come into reality.
That's true. Now, speaking of living on the edge, the folks at Cadillac are saying that they're going to have a self-driving car by the mid-decade, and they've been driving it on their XTS models. Of course, the XTS is a pretty nice
Yeah.
vehicle, but
Yeah.
they're doing the same thing as Google's doing. So it goes to show you that we may not have any choice. The cars may be driving themselves soon, Rob.
Yeah, are we on a track to totally not even need humans anymore? I mean, all the machines are going to be doing everything for us. What are we going to be doing, right? It's like, come on.
Yeah. One thing that I fully don't understand because I haven't read enough on it, but there was an announcement by Apple that their next generation iPhone will have in-cell touch panels, and I don't know what the difference is. What does that mean? And I guess it's a better type of touch panel, but I'm not fully up on speed on what to, don't we have touch panels already, or is it, I guess, a different type of technology?
Yeah, I think it's just a different type of screen technology, and what I understand, it's going to be a lot thinner. I don't know,
Oh,
and so it's going to enable the creation of a lot thinner devices. So
di-
I'm not sure about the in-cell touch aspect of it, unless there's some sort of pixel touch kind of technology that's different somehow than the current screens that we have today. But that's the big thing that I gathered was that the actual screens themselves are physically thinner, which means that our phones and our tablets and our all these things are going to be a lot thinner in form factor,
yeah, it'll
which
be,
also means that they're going to be more fragile too.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I think
absolutely.
that's the other side to the coin.
And I saw more people walking around with Movi juice packs on their phones in Vegas
Yeah.
than I have. And everyone's got some sort of very few people are carrying their phones just as their phones without some sort of protective case or some sort of extra power.
Crazy.
Well, and
Well,
and hopefully that technology will also be much more, efficient on the battery, right? I think that's what we have to get to. The battery technology is not getting better fast enough. So the other parts of the phone and tablets and computers need to be more efficient in how they use power, and I think that's really where we're going to see the gains.
What were you saying,
yeah.
Jeffrey?
Well, I was going to say, well, first of all, the idea of the in cell touch is so uh, they say you basically have an error factor of the pretty much the size of your finger when you go to touch something. So with the in cell touch, it's actually going to make it so it has a lot more accuracy. I'm not exactly sure on how that would work because it all depends on your fingers. And for a lot of people that don't know this, as a musician, I know a lot of guitarists that don't have smartphones simply because of the fact that they have calluses on on their fingers to the point where it doesn't recognize onto a smartphone,
Huh.
which is pretty interesting. So I'm wondering if this in-cell touch option is going to help with all that. Now, on the terms of battery, I've ever since the third generation iPad came out, I've and the new light technology that they used. I've always wondered, well, what would happen if you actually put that into the smartphone? Would it make the smartphone, the power on the smartphone, more or less? Would you have a better battery life out of that? But the reality is, that's all depending on how the applications start running within the phone. I always tell people, you go into your phone and turn off notifications on all the programs, because they're just going to turn themselves on. They're going to turn on the push notifications and everything like that, and that's just going to drain the heck out of your battery. And if you manage that stuff, you'll have a better battery life.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see where it goes. Now, watches have been. I haven't worn a watch in years, and it's largely because I've got a cell phone in my pocket. But everyone was asking me at the show, "Hey, did you put in your Pebble Kickstarter amount?" And I'm like, "What?" And of course, I was kind of out of the loop. But have you guys seen this? The Pebble Kickstarter event, $5.7 million. They got 27 days to go, 39,000 backers. This is the biggest Kickstarter fundraiser ever. And
e-paper. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is huge. Basically, the phone talks to your phone. I mean, the watch talks to your phone. And so they have received more money than I thought they would ever expect, but I don't know. I'm not a huge a watch person, but it might as well get in on the party. I think if you put in $100, you get the one jet black one. If you get 125, you get to choose your color. So you get a white, red, or black one. So
I don't know
Kickstarter,
if I pledge. There's 9 people that pledged $10,000. If I was to pledge $10,000, I would expect like 1%, 1 to 2% of the company
well,
in return.
you figure they raised $5.7 million. Yeah, how many people have pledged 10 grand? 9 so far.
Yeah.
100 pebbles in any color. So, people are going to resell those. They're going to put those in the shop someplace and sell them for $100 a piece. So, interesting. They said Kickstarter said they're going to do $300 million in fundraising this year. So, that's a huge amount. It really, really is.
So I have a question I want to pose. So how long is it going to be before our mobile phone basically is our computer and all we have is a bunch of screens around us? Pose that question.
That's
well, that's the idea of Google Glasses. It's Google Glasses is just a Bluetooth adapter for your smartphone.
I can't wait.
You then hook it up and all you have to do is look at the icon or however that works, and turn around and that becomes your computer. So I don't think that's too far away.
Tell me, how many of us I'm going to buy one as soon as the Google glasses are out. That's me. If it does half of what it says it does, it's going to be really cool. If nothing else for conversation piece. And no self-calling geek would not have a set of those glasses. So
Todd the cyborg.
Yes, absolutely. Figure a way to jack me in and download me, I'm looking at the tick-tock of the clock here, and they got to get busy because we've only got about if I'm lucky, I'll live another 40 years, so.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of medical stuff, I saw and I don't have it up here in my links. I saw an article where they have successfully bridged a spinal cord in a monkey. So what has happened is and I don't know if they paralyzed the monkey on purpose, probably, but they were able to get signals from one side of the spinal cord to the area that was affected to the other. And they're able to put some additional implants in an arm, and then have been able to get arm movement by transmitting basically they're electrically figuring out what the spinal cord's sending and bridging it. So this is huge. There could be, we might be 10 years away from someone gets a spinal cord injury, and the next thing you know, they've got they're just wired up and wired back together physically.
Wow.
So
that'd be great.
That would be cool.
It'd be really cool. So I'm sure it's, not without complications and challenges. But look at all this computing power. If they've got the ability to, you know, determine what the spinal cord's sending up and down it, and then mimic that and copy and replicate it back into the spinal cord system. Really, it's nerves and stuff. That's remarkable. It really, really is. Okay.
Guys, I wanted to mention one thing I saw on Facebook yesterday that I thought was fascinating was there's a car that's being made by a division of Volkswagen that's going to sell in China for $600.
Has it got holes in the floors where you have to push it?
No, it's a single seat
it called Yugo?
car. Yeah, it's a single seat car that has a 1.7 gallon gas tank in it and will go 258 miles a gallon.
Wow.
So
how fast?
It's got a top speed of about 70 miles an hour, I think.
Hey, but I want 3.
I know. I was like, it's coming to China. If you think about, kind of how many billions of people are in China and in that part of the world. Imagine everybody has a $600 car.
But can you imagine it probably doesn't have with very many safety features?
No, I guess it's going to be crashed as safe as a regular car, I guess. But
really?
But the thing is that it's being talked about now as being more efficient than an electric car.
Huh.
I mean, yeah. I mean, on a cost per gallon basis,
right?
Or cost per mile basis, it's actually more efficient than an electric car. So,
well, my buddy here that purchased a Chevy Volt, he's getting 128 miles to the gallon right now on his current driving habits.
Wow.
So, he can drive to his workplace and get just about 3/4 of the way home, and then the motor starts up. He has to get the rest of the way home on engine-driven battery. Well, basically the batteries, the engine's generating electricity. So I thought that's kind of curious, and of course now he's all into looking for charging stations and everything else. I'm sure that's something that you are well accustomed with, Rob. But I still think that the Nissan Leaf at this point, at least in Hawaii, would make more sense. But I just don't see them. I'm sure there's a few here, but
well, now that you mention it, I was walking a lot of San Francisco this last week, and I don't remember seeing a single charging station anywhere.
Well, oftentimes they're in parking garages, so you wouldn't necessarily see them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I figured they'd be out on the streets or something like that.
So what's this a game called Taptitude there, Rob? It's on the Windows Phone. These guys are making $1,000 a day with this app. Have you played this?
No, I haven't. I'm not really familiar with it at all.
I guess it's real popular, and they made Business Insider, so I guess the guys are doing good. Nice $1,000 a day paycheck on an app development is good money.
Yeah.
Hey, last thing I want to talk about today is the London Olympics coming up. And they made an announcement that just blows me away in this day and age. They are saying that people that are at the events are not going to be allowed to take pictures and push them to Facebook. They're not going to be able to send. If you're at a track meet, you're not going to be able to take a picture of the event going on and pushing it up. They're going to stream everything live, but you as a guest or a attendee are going to be very limited in what you can do with your media, and their copyright police are going to be working it hard, sending takedown notices for unauthorized media that's being put up online. I think this is a bunch of crap.
Huh.
I'm not going to the London Olympics, but let's be honest here. You're going to tell people that are going to an event, they have smartphones, that they're not going to be able to post stuff to Flickr, to Facebook, and so forth. Have they lost their minds?
Yeah, that does seem a little too controlling. Hey, Todd, I found a photo of that car that I was telling you about.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, here I'll hold it up in front of the camera so you can see it.
Rob, I am not driving that. That is the ugliest thing I have ever seen. You know, if that's got to be a joke. Is it April 1st? You know,
No, it's totally it's made by Volkswagen.
You know what that reminds me of? You remember that episode where of The Simpsons, where Homer Simpson made his own car?
Yeah, that's a perfect car for a communist country. You know, that is the ugliest thing I have ever seen. No way would I drive one of those, even at 128 or 250 miles a gallon. Oh my God!
$600 car. Now, Todd, I mean, think about it for your kids, right?
My kids would like take the bus. That would be a step up. They're going to have to do something with that design. I'm sorry. They made it where in India? Oh, those
no, it's actually made in Germany.
In Germany.
Yeah.
It doesn't that look like some?
That
is the most goth looking vehicle I think I've ever seen.
Well, I mean, it's going to come in different colors probably.
That black was just, that was styling.
It's hideous.
Oh my God. That's amazing. Well,
hideous.
Anyway, I've been out of the tech loop all week, been in the broadcast loop. Did you guys see anything else this past week that was noteworthy?
I have one article that we should talk about, and that is our friends over at Chumby.
Oh yeah.
Rip. Oh, that's right. Chumby is
they have announced that they have officially are out of business.
Yep.
Their new name was called Technicolor, I believe. And they've been looking to sell the company, but CEO Derek Olean basically says the company's no more. It's just waiting to be, the technology is just waiting to be bought by somebody, but they're not going to go forward as a company.
Yeah, their box play didn't work out so well. They should have been software all along.
Yeah.
That's too bad. I don't have a Chumby sitting on my desk, so I don't have a piece of hardware that is dead.
Yeah, I think it's the Chia Pet of tech gadgets, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. And I'm not surprised to say the least.
Yeah, I'm not either.
But well, guys, I'm gonna wrap here, and thanks for hanging out. Jeffrey, are we doing something later today on? Have you got a topic, or would you rather?
Do you have something? Let's talk offline about that.
Yeah, okay. But for everyone else, definitely check Jeffrey out at Geekazine, GeekAzine.com. And Rob, where are you sending people to these days?
RobGreenlee.com is a great place to go. And then I'm on Twitter at RobGreenlee. Actually, not .com, but at RobGreenlee.
And lots of cool stuff going on in the space for sure. It's been a fun week. Guys, thanks for hanging out. Of course, my name is Todd Cochran. You can reach me at geeknews@gmail.com, on Twitter at geeknews, or you can even call into our voicemail hotline at 619-342-7365. Hope you like the new monitors back there. Oops, I need to switch that back. Hope you like the new monitors. And Jeffrey, we're going to have to do something about that green background when you're on the show. That's quite the, you've got the nice color motif there for sure.
Is it not showing up that well, or?
No, it shows up, but that green is how should we say ugly. It is beholding to you, or not so beholding to you?
God awfully ugly and needs to be changed now. Maybe I'll go over to Target and get some new curtains.
Oh, is that what that is? That's not your green screen. That's a curtain.
No, my green screen's downstairs. This is just a set of curtains.
You need to burn those
so you don't see the ugly closet behind there.
Oh, it's okay. That's cool. Yeah, that's not a great color.
It's a studio. No.
Yeah, it is. So yeah, some changes are going to go on back here next, but I got to be home long enough to make the changes. So
have you thought about what you're going to do back
there? Yeah, I have, and I'm not going to tell what I'm doing. I've got a plan.
Ooh.
It's
Top
not going to
secret.
change that much, but it's, we're going to get rid of this 19. I bought this furniture. I'm getting shot in the face here with the sun. I bought that furniture in, see, my first daughter, that furniture is 22 years old. So the black lacquer and tinted glass, it's time for that to disappear. I'd set that on the side of the street and let someone else enjoy it for another 5 years. But that served its purpose back there for what it does. But you guys can't see it that close. But my wife is like, that has got to leave the house. It is just butt ugly. It's kind of like that butt ugly car.
But you can't take it home in that car.
Yeah, that's true. All right, guys, and to the folks
All right.
watching, thanks so much. Thanks for hanging out. We'll take care. We'll see you not next week because I'll be flying back from Florida next week, but probably 2 weeks from now. Everyone take care and aloha.